I was so wrong about her. For 38 years, I believed I had raised a compassionate, caring daughter who understood the value of family and the sacrifices her mother and I made to give her a good life. Jennifer was supposed to be different. She was supposed to honor her mother's memory, not desecrate it for money. But I was wrong. My name is Robert Brennan, and I'm 65 years old. I live in a modest bungalow in North Vancouver, British Columbia, the same house where my wife, Margaret, and I raised Jennifer. Margaret passed away 14 months ago after a brutal battle with ovarian cancer. The disease took her quickly, viciously, and watching her deteriorate over those final 6 months destroyed something fundamental inside me. Margaret was my everything. We met at the University of British Columbia in 1982, married 2 years later, and built a life together that I thought was unremarkable, but deeply meaningful. I worked as a civil engineer for the city, steady employment that paid the bills and funded our modest retirement dreams. Margaret taught elementary school for 30 years, pouring her heart into other people's children the same way she poured it into our own daughter. When Margaret was diagnosed, we were 2 years into our retirement. We had plans, simple plans maybe, but they were ours. We wanted to travel across Canada in an RV one summer. We talked about spending winters in Victoria to escape Vancouver's rain. We dreamed of becoming the kind of grandparents who spoiled their grandchildren with love and homemade cookies. Cancer stole all of that. The medical bills were crushing, even with our provincial health coverage. The experimental treatments Margaret needed weren't covered by MSP, and we burned through our savings trying to buy her more time. In those final months, when we knew the end was coming, Margaret made me promise something. "Robert," she said, her voice barely a whisper, her hand frighteningly thin in mine, "take care of yourself. Don't you dare give up on life when I'm gone. And make sure Jennifer knows how much we loved her. Make sure she understands that family is everything." I made that promise. I kissed her forehead and swore I would honor her wishes. Margaret had been smart about life insurance. Years ago, when Jennifer was still in high school, Margaret had taken out a substantial policy, $3.6 million, as protection for our family. The premiums were manageable, and the policy would ensure that if anything happened to her, I would be financially secure in my old age. It was her final gift to me, her way of saying, "I'll take care of you, even when I'm gone." After Margaret died, I fell apart. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I stopped eating properly. I stopped going to the community center where Margaret and I used to play bridge on Tuesday nights. I wandered through our house like a ghost, touching her things, smelling her clothes, falling asleep in her favorite chair because I couldn't bear to sleep in our bed alone. Jennifer lived in Kitsilano, about 30 minutes away. She was working as a marketing manager for some tech startup downtown, or at least that's what she told me. She was divorced, no kids, and had always struck me as fiercely independent. After her mother died, she came around more often. She cooked meals for me, sat with me while I cried, helped me sort through Margaret's belongings when I finally found the strength to pack them away. I thought she was being a good daughter. I thought grief had brought us closer. Looking back now, I can see the truth. She was circling like a vulture, waiting for her moment. 3 months after Margaret's funeral, the life insurance payout came through, $3.6 million deposited directly into my account. I remember staring at the bank statement, feeling nothing but emptiness. No amount of money could bring Margaret back. No amount of money could fill the hole in my chest where my heart used to be. Jennifer was with me when I got the notification. We were sitting at my kitchen table, drinking Tim Hortons coffee she'd picked up on her way over. "That's a lot of money, Dad," she said softly, looking at the statement over my shoulder. "It's blood money," I replied, my voice hollow. "Your mother bought this with her life." Jennifer put her hand on my shoulder. "Mom would want you to be taken care of. She'd want you to be comfortable." I nodded, too numb to say anything else. 2 weeks later, Jennifer came to me with a proposal. She sat me down in the living room, her expression serious and concerned. "Dad, I'm worried about you," she began. "You're not thinking clearly right now. The grief, it's affecting your judgment. What if you make a bad financial decision? What if someone takes advantage of you?" I frowned. "What are you suggesting?" "I think you should give me power of attorney," she said. "Just temporarily. Just until you're feeling more like yourself. I can manage your finances, make sure the bills are paid, Make sure you're not being scammed. It would give me peace of mind, knowing you're protected. I should have questioned it. I should have asked why she thought I needed protecting, but I was drowning in grief, and Jennifer was my daughter, Margaret's daughter. The little girl I'd taught to ride a bike, the teenager I'd driven to university, the woman who'd stood beside me at her mother's funeral, with tears streaming down her face. I trusted her. So I signed the documents. I gave Jennifer temporary power of attorney over my financial affairs, believing it was for my own protection. That was my first mistake. For the next 4 months, I didn't pay attention to my bank accounts. I didn't check my statements. I was barely functional, going through the motions of existence without really living. Jennifer continued to visit, bringing groceries, tidying the house, telling me about her work and her life. Everything seemed normal. Then, one Saturday morning in late April, I ran into Tom Henderson at the grocery store. Tom was Margaret's brother, Jennifer's uncle, and we'd been close for decades. He pulled me aside near the produce section, his expression troubled. "Robert, I need to ask you something, and I don't want you to take it the wrong way." I set down the bag of apples I'd been examining. "What is it, Tom?" "Is Jennifer doing okay financially? I ran into her at a restaurant downtown last month, and she was with some guy who had a brand new Porsche Cayenne. Then, last week, my wife saw her walking into a condo viewing in Yaletown. Those places start at $2 million. I thought her tech company wasn't doing well. Did she get some kind of inheritance we don't know about?" My blood went cold. "What are you talking about?" Tom shifted uncomfortably. "Look, it's none of my business how she spends her money. But Margaret used to worry that Jennifer was too focused on status, on keeping up appearances. She was always a bit extravagant, even when she couldn't afford it. I just thought it was odd, the timing of all this. I left my shopping cart in the middle of the aisle and drove straight home. My hands shook as I logged into my online banking for the first time in months. The main account showed a balance of $287,340. Over $3 million was gone. I sat there, staring at the screen, my vision blurring, my chest tight. This couldn't be right. There had to be a mistake. The bank must have made an error. But as I scrolled through the transaction history, the truth revealed itself in a series of transfers. $150,000 here, $200,000 there. Smaller amounts. $30,000, $45,000, $60,000. All withdrawn over the past 4 months. Each transaction was authorized with my power of attorney, signed electronically by Jennifer on my behalf. I tracked where the money went. Some transfers went directly to Jennifer's personal account. Others went to car dealerships, real estate agents, luxury retailers, a trip to Hawaii, furniture stores, high-end restaurants. My daughter had systematically stolen her mother's life insurance payout. I don't remember much about the rest of that day. I know I vomited in my bathroom. I know I sat on the floor of Margaret's closet, surrounded by her clothes, sobbing until I had no tears left. I know I looked at our wedding photo on the mantle and felt something inside me break even further than I thought possible. When Jennifer called that evening to see how I was doing, I almost answered. My hand hovered over the phone, trembling. But I couldn't do it. I couldn't hear her voice pretending to care about me while she was living off her mother's death. Instead, I did something I should have done months ago. I called Richard Chow, the lawyer who'd handled Margaret's will and our estate planning. "Richard, I need to see you first thing Monday morning. It's urgent." That Monday morning, I sat in Richard's office on Hastings Street and laid out everything I'd discovered. He listened without interrupting, his expression growing darker with each detail I shared. "Robert, this is fraud," he said when I finished. "Jennifer used her power of attorney to misappropriate funds for her personal benefit. That's a criminal offense. We're not just talking about a civil lawsuit here. We're talking about potential jail time." "I don't care about jail time," I said, my voice harder than I'd heard it in years. "I want my money back. I want her to face consequences." Margaret trusted her. I trusted her. She stole from her own dead mother. Richard nodded grimly. "We'll need to move quickly. First, we need to immediately revoke her power of attorney. Then we'll file for an emergency injunction to freeze her assets. After that, we'll gather evidence and file both civil and criminal complaints." "How long will this take?" If we move aggressively, we can have the injunction filed by tomorrow. The full legal proceedings could take months, maybe longer. But Robert, I need to ask you something difficult. Are you prepared to go through with this? Jennifer is your daughter. This will destroy your relationship with her. I thought about Margaret. I thought about her making me promise to take care of myself, to honor family. But I also thought about what Margaret would say if she knew what Jennifer had done. She destroyed our relationship when she stole from me, I said. Let's proceed. Richard moved with the precision of a seasoned lawyer. By Tuesday afternoon, we had an emergency court date scheduled. By Wednesday morning, we were standing before a judge in Vancouver Provincial Court, presenting evidence of Jennifer's fraud. Jennifer wasn't there. She hadn't been served yet. The injunction was granted ex parte, meaning the judge issued it based solely on our evidence. Within hours, all of Jennifer's accounts were frozen. The Porsche she'd leased was seized. The condo deposit she'd put down was blocked. The real confrontation came 3 days later. Richard had arranged a meeting at his office, neutral territory. I arrived early, my stomach churning. I hadn't seen Jennifer since I'd discovered the truth, and I didn't know how I'd react when I finally faced her. She arrived 20 minutes late, looking polished and confident in an expensive designer outfit I'd probably paid for. When she walked into the conference room and saw me sitting next to Richard, her expression shifted from confusion to concern. Dad, what's going on? Why are all my accounts frozen? I've been trying to reach you for days. Sit down, Jennifer, Richard said firmly. She remained standing. I don't understand. Dad, what's happening? I couldn't speak. If I opened my mouth, I would start screaming and never stop. Richard slid a folder across the table. Miss Brennan, we've documented every fraudulent transaction you made using your power of attorney. $3,312,660 withdrawn from your father's account over 4 months. A Porsche Cayenne. A condo deposit in Yaletown. Multiple shopping sprees, restaurant bills, and a vacation to Maui. All paid for with money your mother left to your father. The color drained from Jennifer's face. I can explain. Please do, Richard said coldly. Jennifer looked at me, her eyes suddenly filling with tears. Dad, I was going to pay it back. I swear. I had some debts, some financial problems. My company was struggling. I just needed to borrow some money to get back on my feet. I was going to return everything once my situation improved. You stole over $3 million, I said, my voice breaking. You didn't borrow it. You stole it. While I was grieving your mother. While I could barely get out of bed. You sat at my kitchen table, drinking coffee, pretending to care about me. And all along, you were robbing me blind. Dad, please, don't call me that, I snapped. You lost the right to call me that when you decided your mother's life insurance was your personal bank account. Jennifer's composure cracked. She slumped into a chair, her hands shaking. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I made a terrible mistake. I got in over my head. The debts were crushing me. I thought I could take just a little bit, fix my problems, and put it back before you noticed. But then I needed more, and then more, and it spiraled out of control. You bought a Porsche, I said, my voice dripping with contempt. You put a deposit on a $2 million condo. You went to Hawaii. Don't insult me by pretending this was about debt. This was about greed. Richard opened another folder. Mr. Brennan is filing both civil and criminal charges against you. The civil suit will seek full recovery of the stolen funds plus damages. The criminal charges include fraud, theft over $5,000, and breach of trust by a person holding power of attorney. If convicted, you could face up to 10 years in prison. Jennifer's face went white. Prison? Dad, you can't be serious. I'm your daughter. And Margaret was your mother, I said. Did you think about that when you were spending her life insurance on luxury cars and penthouses? Did you think about the fact that she died believing you loved us? That she made me promise to make sure you knew how important family was to her? Jennifer was openly crying now. I do love you. I loved Mom. I made a horrible mistake. Please, Dad, don't do this. We can work this out as a family. I'll sell everything. I'll pay you back. Just don't send me to prison. I looked at this woman, this stranger wearing my daughter's face, and felt nothing but cold disgust. You should have thought about that before you betrayed us, I said. I stood up, my legs unsteady. Richard, proceed with everything. I want her prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. The next 6 months were brutal. The legal proceedings moved forward with grinding inevitability. Jennifer hired her own lawyer, a hotshot criminal defense attorney who tried to paint her as a victim of grief-induced poor judgment. They argued that she'd been emotionally devastated by her mother's death, that she'd made impulsive decisions while not in her right mind, that she'd never intended to permanently keep the money. But the evidence was damning. Richard's team brought in forensic accountants who traced every dollar, documenting the pattern of deliberate, systematic theft. They showed that Jennifer had planned this, that she'd researched the power of attorney laws, that she'd waited until I was at my most vulnerable before executing her plan. The criminal trial began in October. I sat in that courtroom every single day, watching my daughter's lies unravel under cross-examination. The prosecutor was relentless, presenting bank records, receipts, emails where Jennifer discussed buying luxury items. They even found text messages where she'd bragged to friends about her inheritance, joking that her mother's death had come with a nice compensation package. When I heard that last part, I nearly collapsed. Margaret had worried about Jennifer's materialism, but I'd always defended our daughter. She's just young, I'd said. She'll mature. She'll understand what really matters. I was so wrong. The jury deliberated for less than 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. At the sentencing hearing, the judge looked at Jennifer with open contempt. Miss Brennan, you exploited your father during the most vulnerable period of his life. You stole money that represented your mother's final act of love and care for her husband. You showed no remorse until you were caught. This court finds your actions reprehensible. She sentenced Jennifer to 4 years in prison, with eligibility for parole after 18 months. She also ordered full restitution of all stolen funds plus punitive damages, totaling $3.8 million. Jennifer collapsed in tears. Her lawyer steadied her as the bailiffs approached. Before they led her away, she looked at me one last time. Dad, please, I'm sorry. Please don't let this be how we end. I said nothing. I couldn't. That night, alone in my house, I sat in Margaret's chair and wondered if I'd done the right thing. Jennifer was going to prison. Our relationship was destroyed. The daughter Margaret and I had raised, loved, and sacrificed for was gone, replaced by someone I didn't recognize. But Margaret's voice echoed in my head. Make sure she understands that family is everything. Did family mean forgiving theft? Did it mean enabling betrayal? Or did it mean holding people accountable when they violated the most sacred trust? I didn't have answers. The first year after Jennifer went to prison was strange. I was alone in a way I'd never been before. Margaret was gone. Jennifer was gone. I'd lost my entire family in the span of 2 years. Tom and his wife checked on me regularly. Friends from the community center pulled me back into bridge games. Slowly, painfully, I started rebuilding something resembling a life. I used the recovered funds to establish the Margaret Brennan Foundation, a charity that provided financial assistance to families dealing with cancer-related medical expenses. It felt like the right way to honor Margaret's memory, to turn Jennifer's betrayal into something meaningful. I also started volunteering at a grief support group, sharing my story with others who'd lost spouses. Talking about Margaret helped keep her alive in my heart, and talking about Jennifer's betrayal helped other people recognize the warning signs of financial exploitation within families. 18 months into Jennifer's sentence, I received an unexpected phone call. It was from a social worker at the prison. Mr. Brennan, I'm calling about your daughter Jennifer. She's been enrolled in a rehabilitation program here, specifically focused on understanding and addressing her behavior. Her counselor believes she's made genuine progress, and Jennifer has requested to meet with you. You're under no obligation to agree, but I wanted to extend the invitation. I hung up without responding. A week later, the social worker called again. This time, she was more direct. Mr. Brennan, I understand your hesitation. What Jennifer did was unconscionable, but I've been working with her for over a year now, And I've seen something shift in her. She's not asking for forgiveness. She's not asking you to drop the charges or help with her parole. She just wants to talk, to explain what was happening in her head, to acknowledge what she did to you. Why should I care what was happening in her head? I asked bitterly. Because you're her father, the social worker said gently. And because pretending she doesn't exist doesn't erase what happened. It doesn't give you peace. I've seen this before, Mr. Brennan. Unresolved trauma festers. Maybe hearing her out won't change anything, but maybe it will give you some closure. I thought about it for 2 more weeks before finally agreeing. The prison visit was scheduled for a Tuesday afternoon. I drove to the Alouette Correctional Center for Women in Maple Ridge with my stomach in knots. Richard had offered to come with me, but I declined. This was something I needed to do alone. The visiting area was stark and depressing. Plastic chairs, heavy supervision, an atmosphere of defeat and regret. When Jennifer was let in, I barely recognized her. Gone was the polished, confident woman who'd walked into Richard's office. This Jennifer wore prison-issue clothing, no makeup, her hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. She looked older, thinner, exhausted, but her eyes were different, clearer, somehow. Less evasive. She sat down across from me and immediately started crying. "Thank you for coming," she whispered. "I didn't think you would." "I almost didn't," I said honestly. "I wouldn't have blamed you." She took a shaky breath. "Dad, I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect anything from you. I just need you to know that I understand what I did. I understand how badly I hurt you. And I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't return the 1.5 years you stole from me," I said. "Sorry doesn't bring back your mother's trust. Sorry doesn't erase the fact that you spent her life insurance on a goddamn sports car." Jennifer flinched. "I know. You're right. Nothing I say can fix it. But I want you to understand why I did it. Not as an excuse, but as an explanation." I crossed my arms. "I'm listening." She wiped her eyes. "When Mom died, I fell apart too. I know you don't believe that. I know it looked like I was fine, like I moved on quickly. But I wasn't fine. I was drowning. I was in massive debt from my divorce. The tech company I was working for was failing. I was about to lose my apartment. I felt like a complete failure, and I couldn't bear the thought of Mom being disappointed in me. "So you stole from me to avoid disappointment?" I asked incredulously. "I told myself I was borrowing," she continued. "I convinced myself that if I could just get my life together, if I could become successful and stable, then I'd be honoring Mom's memory. I thought if I looked successful, if I appeared to have my life together, then somehow I'd actually feel successful. It was delusional, I know. But in that moment, I believed it. The power of attorney was your opportunity," I said flatly. Jennifer nodded, more tears falling. "You were so broken after Mom died, so vulnerable. And I'm ashamed to say this, but part of me resented that you got to fall apart while I had to hold it together, had to be the strong one, the caretaker. I was grieving too, but no one asked how I was doing. Everyone was worried about you. So this was revenge." "No," she said quickly. "No, Dad, it wasn't revenge. It was weakness. It was selfishness. It was me convincing myself that I deserved something for all the pain I was in. That Mom would have wanted me to be okay, and therefore it was okay to take the money." I shook my head in disgust. "Your mother would have been horrified." "I know," Jennifer sobbed. "I know that now. I've spent every day for the past 18 months thinking about what Mom would say if she knew what I'd done. The therapist here has been working with me on understanding my thought patterns, my justifications, my self-deception. I've had to confront the fact that I'm not the person I thought I was, that I'm capable of terrible things when I'm scared and desperate. Everyone's capable of terrible things," I said. "What matters is whether you choose to do them." "You're right," she said quietly. "I made a choice, multiple choices. Every time I transferred money, every time I bought something, every time I sat at your kitchen table and pretended everything was fine, I made a choice, and I chose wrong. I chose greed over integrity. I chose comfort over honesty. I chose to betray the 2 people who loved me most in this world." We sat in silence for a moment. I looked at this broken woman and tried to reconcile her with the daughter I'd raised. The little girl who'd cried when we ran over a squirrel on the highway. The teenager who'd volunteered at food banks. The adult who'd stood beside me at her mother's funeral. "Are you telling me this to make me feel sorry for you?" I asked. "No," Jennifer said. "I'm telling you this because you deserve to know the truth. You deserve to know that what I did wasn't about you being a bad father or mom being a bad mother. You were wonderful parents. I failed you, not the other way around. And I'm telling you this because I need you to know that I'm trying to change. Not for parole, not to reduce my sentence, but because I can't live with who I was anymore." "How do I know this isn't another manipulation?" I asked. "How do I know you're not just saying what you think I want to hear?" "You don't," she admitted. "You have no reason to trust me. I destroyed that. All I can tell you is that for the first time in my life, I'm being completely honest. With myself, with my therapist, and now with you. I spent years lying to everyone, including myself. I'm done with lies." I studied her face, looking for any sign of deception. But all I saw was exhaustion and genuine remorse. "What do you want from me, Jennifer?" "Nothing," she said immediately. "I don't want your forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I don't want money. I don't want help with my parole. I just wanted you to know that I finally understand what I took from you. Not just the money, but your trust, your peace, your faith in me. I took the daughter you raised and turned her into someone you couldn't recognize. And I'm sorry. That's all. I'm just so incredibly sorry." I left that visit feeling more confused than I'd felt in years. I'd expected to feel satisfied, vindicated. Instead, I just felt tired. Over the next 6 months, Jennifer continued to send me letters. She didn't ask for anything. She just wrote about her therapy sessions, about the books she was reading, about the other women in the program and their stories. She wrote about her memories of Margaret, about the guilt she felt whenever she thought about her mother. I didn't respond to the letters, but I read every one. When Jennifer became eligible for parole, she didn't request my support. She didn't ask me to speak on her behalf. According to her social worker, she told the parole board that she deserved to serve her full sentence, that she'd caused immeasurable harm, and that she understood if they denied her early release. The parole board granted her conditional release after 22 months. She was required to continue therapy, perform community service, and had strict financial oversight. She was also ordered to continue making restitution payments from any income she earned. A week after her release, Jennifer called me. I almost didn't answer. "Hi, Dad," she said when I picked up. Her voice was uncertain, fragile. "What do you want?" I asked. "I just wanted to let you know. I'm out. I'm living in a halfway house in Surrey. I got a job at a nonprofit that helps formerly incarcerated women find employment. It doesn't pay much, but it's honest work." "Good for you," I said, my tone neutral. "I also wanted to tell you that I've been visiting Mom's grave every week. I talk to her, tell her about the program, about what I'm learning about myself. I apologize to her. I know she can't hear me, but it helps." My throat tightened. "She would have wanted to know you were trying." There was a long pause. "Dad, I'm not asking for a relationship. I know that's probably impossible now. But if you ever want to see me, if you ever want to talk, I'm here. And if you never want to see me again, I understand that too." I didn't know what to say, so I said nothing. "I love you, Dad," Jennifer said softly. "I know I don't have the right to say that anymore, but it's true. I love you, and I loved Mom, and I'll spend the rest of my life trying to become someone worthy of that love." She hung up before I could respond. For the next 3 months, I wrestled with what to do. Part of me wanted to maintain the wall I'd built, to keep Jennifer at a distance forever. She'd committed an unforgivable act. She'd stolen from me when I was at my lowest. Why should I give her another chance? But another part of me, the part that still heard Margaret's voice, wondered what my wife would want me to do. Margaret had believed in redemption. She'd believed that people could change if they truly wanted to. She'd believed in the power of forgiveness, not for the person being forgiven, but for the person doing the forgiving. In December, on what would have been Margaret's 65th birthday, I drove to the cemetery. I'd been going every month since she died, usually alone, usually in silence. But this time, when I arrived, someone was already there. Jennifer was kneeling by Margaret's headstone, her head bowed. She didn't notice me approaching until I was standing right next to her. She looked up, startled. "Dad, I didn't know you were coming." "It's her birthday," I said. "I always come on her birthday." Jennifer nodded. She'd brought flowers, simple daisies, Margaret's favorite. I did too. Even when I was doing what I did, I never forgot her birthday. We stood there together in awkward silence, two people bound by love for the same woman, separated by an act of unforgivable betrayal. "I made her a promise," I finally said. "Before she died, she made me promise to take care of myself and to make sure you knew how much we loved you." Jennifer's eyes filled with tears. "I knew. I always knew. That's what makes what I did even worse." I took a deep breath. She also believed in second chances. She believed people could change. "Do you believe that?" Jennifer asked quietly. I thought about it. Did I believe Jennifer had changed? Did I believe she was genuinely remorseful? Or was I just an old man who'd lost his wife and didn't want to lose his daughter too? "I don't know," I admitted. "But I think Margaret would want me to try to find out." Jennifer's face crumpled. "I don't deserve that. I don't deserve your willingness to even consider it." "No," I agreed. "You don't. But Margaret believed love wasn't about what people deserved. It was about what we chose to give, even when it was hard." Over the next year, Jennifer and I began the slow, painful process of rebuilding some kind of relationship. It wasn't like before. It would never be like before. There was too much damage, too much broken trust. But we met once a month for coffee. We talked about Margaret, about our memories of her. Jennifer told me about her work at the nonprofit, about the women she was helping. She showed me her financial statements, proving she was making her restitution payments on time. She attended therapy twice a week and participated in a 12-step program for people with impulse control issues. I attended my own therapy sessions, working through my anger and sense of betrayal. My therapist helped me understand that forgiving Jennifer didn't mean forgetting what she'd done or pretending it hadn't happened. It meant acknowledging the harm while also acknowledging her efforts to change. 2 years after Jennifer's release, she asked if she could volunteer with the Margaret Brennan Foundation. I was hesitant, but she made a compelling case. "I know what it's like to make terrible choices that destroy your life," she said. "I know what it's like to hurt the people who love you. If I can help even one family avoid the kind of pain we went through, if I can help people understand how financial stress can lead to desperate decisions, then maybe I can turn what I did into something meaningful." I agreed, with conditions. She would work under close supervision. She would have no access to funds. She would share her story honestly with the families we helped, explaining what she'd done and why financial exploitation within families was so devastating. Jennifer embraced all of it. She became one of our most effective volunteers, speaking openly about her crime and its consequences. Families listened to her because she'd lived it. She wasn't some distant example. She was a real person who'd committed a terrible act and was trying to atone for it. It's been 4 years now since Jennifer went to prison. Our relationship is complicated. I don't fully trust her, and I probably never will. Some betrayals cut too deep to fully heal. But I see her efforts. I see her commitment to change. I see the person she's trying to become. Last month, on the anniversary of Margaret's death, Jennifer and I visited the cemetery together. We stood side by side at the headstone, and Jennifer spoke out loud. "Hi, Mom. It's me. I'm here with Dad. I know I've disappointed you. I know I broke your heart and Dad's heart and my own heart, but I want you to know I'm trying. I'm trying to be the daughter you raised me to be. I'm trying to honor your memory by helping other people. I'm trying to make amends for what I did. I know it's not enough. It will never be enough. But I'm trying." I put my hand on her shoulder. It was the first time I'd voluntarily touched her in years. "Your mother would be proud that you're trying," I said. "She wouldn't excuse what you did, but she'd be proud that you're not giving up." Jennifer leaned into me, and for just a moment, I allowed myself to remember what it felt like to be her father. Not the betrayed victim, not the prosecutor, just her father. I'll never forget what Jennifer did. I'll never stop feeling the pain of that betrayal. But I've learned something important through all of this. Holding on to anger doesn't punish the person who wronged you. It just imprisons you in the past. Margaret made me promise to take care of myself. And I've realized that taking care of myself means not letting Jennifer's betrayal define the rest of my life. It means choosing to move forward, even when it's difficult, even when it hurts. Does this mean everything's forgiven? No. Does it mean our relationship is restored? No. But it means I'm trying to find peace. For Margaret, for myself, and maybe, just maybe, for the daughter I once knew. If you've been betrayed by someone you love, by someone you trusted completely, I understand your pain. I've lived it. I'm still living it. There's no easy answer, no simple path to healing. Some of you might choose to never forgive, and that's valid. Some of you might choose to rebuild, and that's valid too. What matters is that you make the choice that allows you to live with yourself, that allows you to honor the memory of the people you've lost without being consumed by bitterness. Margaret's gone. I can't bring her back, but I can honor her belief in redemption and second chances, even when it's the hardest thing I've ever done. That's my story. That's my truth. Take from it what you will.